Hi, in this video I will show you how to do Fair Isle, but in a different way, and I will show you the back. You see here that you have no floats, and I will show you the technique and also explain what other advantages, that's a very difficult word for Dutch people, it has when you compare it with regular Fair Isle. Here you see a little cushion cover that I made, and if you look at it at the front it seems like regular Fair Isle, and like I showed you in the intro, this doesn't have the floats that the normal Fair Isle has, and this is because you will weave in the yarns all the way through the entire row. If you want, you can skip rows. You see here that I have two rows that don't have switching colors, and then you can just leave it there. But if you want, you can take the yarn with you through entire rows. So with Fair Isle, you know that you have to do a couple of stitches, and then if you have a large piece of one color, which is, well, if you look at the traditional Fair Isle, that's not quite allowed, but okay, it happens of course, and then you have to weave in a little bit. But with this technique you weave in all the way, and this makes it possible to have much more room for designing patterns. You can make art shawls and that have very large pieces of the same color. So this is yeah, for me a great advantage. And of course not having these floats for sleeves, for example, or wraps is for me yeah, very important, because you know your fingers can catch these floats, especially if you wear a ring that has something on top of it. You can catch those floats very easily, and so you can avoid that with this technique. And another thing that is very important for me, because I've been there, I've done that. I knitted a cardigan, and I used the steeks, and I don't know if you know what steeks are. These are these little pieces that you knit extra. Like if you have a cardigan, you have the two side pieces, and then you knit a little piece in between them, and so later then you work in the round, and then later you cut through this extra piece that you knitted, and you can also do that for the parts where your sleeve will get. And yeah, well, I knitted my front pieces, my back, and it was entirely finished, and then I cut my steeks, and then I tried to fit it, and it didn't fit. Well, then you cannot reuse your yarn any longer because it's cut. And with this technique you could reuse your yarn because you will also work on the purl side, and that is something that you usually don't do with Fair Isle, and I will show you how to do that. There is something that I also want to mention about the side stitches. You can do simply take off your first stitch, and I do that always purl wise, and then I knit along the row, and then I knit my last one too, and then on the back I slip it off purl wise, and then I purl along the back row, and then I also purl the last one. And here I'm working on this large shawl, and you can see here the result of that, and this looks very, very nice. It's also possible to knit or purl your first stitch, and here you see that I have worked on my cushion cover and I've picked up stitches at the sides, and well, then it's better to knit that first and last stitch, but well, you can do both, of course. So that's a little bit about the side stitches. And also something that I would recommend for working with yeah, color work is do a professional cast on, and here I used a professional cast on with a helper thread, and I have a video for that, and but it's on my Dutch channel, and it's spoken in Dutch, but I do have English subtitles for it, so you can look for the professional cast on with a helper thread, or a temporary thread. It's better to start with that professional cast on, and then when you have finished your piece and you do your bind off, then you can see if you need a smaller needle, maybe a bigger needle, and then do that and see how it looks, and then do the same thing on the bottom. So by picking up the stitches and do the same thing at the bottom. This also gives you a bottom that is the same as the top, so that's why I like it very much. And well, you know, that was just a little bit about, yeah, things that I like to do. So let's get started with the technique itself. And for this technique, we work with the English method and the continental method, and are also called the thrower method and the picker method. And you do that both at the knit side and the purl side. So, well, here I will wrap my yarn over my finger here and here over my pinky finger, and just like that. I don't make an extra loop here because the yarn needs to be able to flow freely through your fingers. That is very important for this technique. So here, and I will also do this for this one, over my finger, over my pinky, like here, and well, so there is no tension on the yarn. So super important, don't put any tension on your yarn. If it comes from the ball and you feel that it pulls from the ball, just stop and take some extra yarn from the ball so you don't have tension. Did I say that you didn't need that you want to avoid tension again? So, okay, let's get started. I made here a little yeah, practice thing to show you how this works. The first row is in gray, and this is just a side stitch, and then we will work a dark color, a lighter color, a dark, a light, a dark, and light. And for the brown I will use my red here. So well, I will knit my first one here, and well, then we will start with one color, red color, and then a white, and then a red, and then a white, and then a red, a white, and you see this is super easy. And you know, when I pull on my yarn, I sometimes yeah, let the yarn drop, but I pick it up easily again, and You see, it's just a simple movement. So, and sometimes I, of course, stretch my yarn at the right side, but with this technique, if you let the yarn flow freely through your fingers and there is no tension, then this will work like a charm. You hardly have to pull on your yarns, because when working with regular Fair Isle and you have the floats on the back, that's something that is really important. And I must say that if I use this technique for and use large pieces with one color, of course I stretch a little bit, but well, hardly, to be honest. And well, this is not very different than regular Fair Isle, of course, but you will see the difference when we will do bigger pieces of one color. And well, I will first show you also how to do this on the purl side. So almost finished here. So this was easy, wasn't it? This was quick, easy, and we will do a row back again, also alternating the black, the white, and the red. So again, something that's very important, if you have large pieces of the same color, always take your yarn to the end of the piece. So, and that's also something I forgot to mention. If you are at the end of a row and you start a new row, wrap the yarns around each other, and a bit later I will tell you about the decision whether to use the one color in your right hand or the other color, and this has to do with something you will see further on. But first we will do this purl row, and we bring both yarns to the front of the piece, and then we will do some purling, and we will do a white stitch above a red one and a red stitch above, well, I get confused. I have to knit and talk the same time, and that's a bit difficult, but you see what I'm doing, you see. And one thing that's very important is the position of this white yarn here. You have to have it below the here, you see here, well, this is not very surprising, but when we get to the next row of rows, you see that the position where your yarn is important for weaving through. So if you have never done both ways of purling, continental or English, well, I hope I do have lots of knitting videos on my channel, and like I said, well, they are Dutch spoken, but they do have English subtitles, so you can watch them. I always wanted to do this also for my English spoken channel, but I actually never took the time to do it. Maybe I should do it. But okay, well, if you have never done purling this way, you see how easy it actually is. And this is the, oops, this is the loose thread. So this was easy, wasn't it? And you see how relaxed it is, just like the normal stitches below here. It doesn't pull in, and that is because the yarn is flowing so freely through your hands that it's no big deal. But now we come to something, and here I will take the pattern here. Here you see that you have 2 stitches in white, 3 stitches in red, 1 in white, 3 stitches in red, 3 will be white. And if you have more than 1 stitch, then you will start the weaving in process, and I will show it to you. And well, if you have never done it, please just first look at this and then just try it. You will get it very quickly. And well, I will use my red yarn in my right hand, and then I will turn it around each other. And okay, we will just start. First we do a side stitch in the gray, and then it says we have to do 2 white stitches. So this is the first one, and then we will have to weave it through, and then you have to make this move. First you bring the right one here, but don't finish your stitch, then bring over the white and then bring back your red. And I will repeat that a couple of times in that row. So there's a difference with working with your yarn that's over your left finger and the yarn that's over your right finger. So now we will do 3 stitches in the red. Well, the first one is simple, just knit it. The second one is also simple, but this time you insert your hook or your needle, but you bring the white yarn over your tip of the hook, the needle, and then you finish your stitch. And then your next stitch is just like normal. Okay, the pattern that says that we only have to do 1 white stitch, so this is 1, and then again we have to do 3 with the yarn on our right hand. So the first one is simple, the second one is also simple, but you have to catch that float here, and then the third one is like this. Then we have to do 3 whites here, 1, 2, 3, and then I show you again. This is a normal one, and here we have to do that extra move. So by first having the red come over the needle, then make your wrap and then bring the yarn back. and like this. So again, 3 of the red, one time with the yarn below your needle, second one with the yarn over your needle, third one with the yarn under your needle. And then we have to do 1 white, this yarn on top, yarn below, and then we will have to do the white one again. So the first one is like normal, the second one is wrap, wrap, bring back, finish your stitch. So, and now feel that I have the yarn pulling from my ball, so I take some yarn out because I do not want to have any tension. And you see how quickly this goes. And you see I haven't pulled on my right side of my work. You know, the yarn flows so freely, and it is taken along with the movement of the weaving in. And you know, of course, when you do large pieces of the same color, then you should pull a little bit to avoid that, that it starts to pucker. But where did I go? I think I did something wrong. Yes, I did something wrong. 3, 1, and this should have been 1 stitch, so knit a little back. It's always difficult talking and doing colors and counting. So let's do this again. 1, 2, 3. You see how quickly this goes. And this, you know, this is an extra movement that you have to do. So this takes a little bit more time, but when you start having this in your head, or you have kind of muscle memory, I always call that, it goes very quickly. But if you have a row and you just take a look at your chart, and you have to determine how many, like for this row, we have a lot of these pieces where you have to do here in the middle an extra movement. Here you have to do a little extra movement, and I wouldn't take the red in my left hand because there's only one piece that I have to do a little movement. So that is why I choose to have my white in my left hand. I hope that was clear. So I will finish this row, and then I will show you how to do the purl side. Here again. There is something also with this type of knitting that I want to show you that you should be aware of, and that I hope you can see it. Well, it's not very obvious in this row. Yeah, okay, I will just explain it to you. Because, you know, I will wait with it because it will show further. Okay, we will do a purl row. And we are doing this one, and then we first have to do the side stitch here, the gray, and then one in white, and then three with the red, three in the white, three in the red. So let's do this. And again, just wrap the yarns around each other, and I will take my red yarn in my right hand, and well, let's see. And well, you know, sometimes I just give it a little extra twist. It really doesn't matter, you won't see that. I've done it for my shawl, and you really don't see it. So we will do a side stitch, and let's do that in white this time. It really doesn't matter much which you use. And then we have to start with the pattern one stitch in white, and then we have to do 3 stitches in the red. So first one, we have to we are keeping this white thread here below, and we make our stitch. And then with the second one, we bring the yarn, the white yarn, over the needle. So, and then for the third one, we bring the yarn below it. So we have done our 3 in red. Then we have to do 3 in white, and then the first one is simple, it's just like this. And then with the second one, it's important to have your yarn here on the low side. We bring the yarn here, wrap, and bring the yarn back, and then finish the stitch. And the third one is like normal. So let's do this again for the yarn in your right hand. First one like this, with the yarn below. Second one with the yarn here over it. Third one like this. And then we have to do just 1 in white, and then again 3 in red. So first one with the yarn here below, second one with the yarn on top, third one with the yarn below, and then we will do 3 white ones again. So the first one is like normal. Bring the yarn down, wrap, wrap, bring the yarn back, the red one back, and the third one is like normal. So I think it's important to show you a little bit more of this. I will now not follow the chart, and just make big parts with one color. So let's do it for the red. On top, below, on top, below, on top, below, and you can have a little stretch on the right side. And let's do this for the yarn on your left hand. First one like normal, second one, wrap, wrap, bring it back, third like normal. So the even stitches have that little extra movement here, and you know, the first couple of times that you do this, you really have to pay attention and memorize it, but I guarantee you, if you have done this for a while, you have kind of stuck it in your head. And you know, I've done quite a large piece, so I pull it a little bit, and well, let's finish this with the red one more time and just do some with the white again until we are finished with the row, and we're almost done. So, and you see how good this is looking, and sometimes you might even see a little bit of the yarn peek through, but you know, in the next row you can pull a little bit on it, but the next row will correct it, and you won't, you see it hardly shows through. So yeah, well, I really enjoy this doing this technique, and oh yes, of course, you can still use sticks if you want to, and then you will only work at the knit side in the round. So yes, of course, you can do it that way also. And yes, it's true. The pattern is you can see it much better on the knit side. That's absolutely true. And what I do when I work at the purl side, and actually I do it all the time, but when I start doing a row, I first investigate it. Where are the places where you can have a kind of a check of you if you're still doing the right thing? With my shawl, I have larger repeats, and I also have these markers that mark the start and the end of a repeat, and that it also makes that I have points to where I have a check. And you see here, I have investigated my pattern here, and I knew that at certain places I had to do a brown stitch in a particular place, like here above a row of this blue or teal color, and that is this something that really helps you knit a row the right time, of the right way, in just the first try. So you don't have to pull it out. And yes, you can weave in lifelines if you want to, so that if you have to get back, then you can pull it out and get back to your lifeline and then pick up the stitches again. But yes, especially for the purl side, investigate your pattern and see where you can identify places that you think, oh, I have to do a certain stitch in a particular place. That really helps. I wanted to show a little bit about, I tried to mention it earlier, but I had to wait until I had a piece where I could show it clearly to you. For example, here you see 3 stitches next to each other, and you see that if you look at the bottom of the V shape, this bottom is slightly lower than these two. This has to do with the weaving through of the yarn at the back here. So, but this is something that, it's it belongs kind of to this way of working with this technique. And if you see my piece here, you see that when you have blocked and steamed it, you hardly see difference in these rows. So that will work out fine. Well, I hope this was clear. And then I would like to ask you, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, that please do so, and then I will see you back in the next video.